Midnight is quietly revamping Lordaeron. New evidence. Guys, I'm all for old world revamps. I'm all for, Blizzard kind of upping the resolution of this game a little bit. I'm really excited to see Silvermoon and all the shit they've done around it and the Ghostlands and all that. But maybe that revamp is expanding even further in the Eastern Kingdoms. I've talked a little bit about this, but let's see some of the new evidence coming out that, yes, we are going to get more revamps to the upper part of the Eastern Kingdoms and what Blizzard has in store for the rest of Midnight. Here we go.
Something incredibly interesting just happened in the Midnight Beta. Blizzard replaced the loading screen for the Midnight Zones with this incredibly intriguing artwork. As we know, Midnight is all about quota loss, but
That is a nice piece of artwork. That's a big overview of the continent. I'm pausing early today. Look at this. Is that Dalaran? Is that what's going on? I think it is. It's a big pond there. Yeah, a few other. These are notable locations here. What is this? I wonder what this is. We got the big wall here, right? We got a bunch of things. And this upper part of the Eastern Kingdoms has so much lore in it. We're talking about Gilneas, Lordaeron, Stratholme, Dalaran, Silvermoon. There's just so much lore to be had. It's probably one of the most lore-dense zones in the entire game. And we're going to get revamps to this shit. I can't wait.
Artwork. As we know, Midnight is all about quota loss.
I said Lordaeron, but yeah, same shit.
Quota loss is barely even seen in the background, and the focal point is on what is south of it, the outline where Dalaran was, the Arathi Highlands, the Risful Grades, and everything else.
The Arathi Highlands,
that's right. They plan to revamp a few more classic zones in Midnight. They confirmed Forsaken being a part of Midnight. They updated the areas surrounding Stratholme and Arathi Highlands are more relevant than ever. What is going to be the extent of this Eastern Kingdoms revamp, and what is this really going to look like? Anything Warcraft related, Warhammer, Destiny, pretty much any game you can imagine, you can get at the best market prices with my link in the description below on Gamivo. On top of that, I got mobile top-ups, software,
Gamivo.
A whole bunch of other things. Even better, if you use my code DORON, you will get another discount on top, so click my link in the description and check out Gamivo. So I've been going on and on about this for years now.
I don't think it's ever going to happen. I just don't think it's ever going to happen, but I want to see Lordaeron rebuilt, man. I talk about it all the time. I goon to it all the time. I reminisce. I think about it. I dream about it. I fantasize about it. Will it ever happen? Probably not. Probably not.
I got like 1,000 videos on this talking about the Eastern Kingdom revamp, Lordaeron, and everything. And
unless it's rebuilt with undead vibes. Look, it can be the way I see it. If they ever actually do rebuild it, and let's be honest, let's keep some of the the realisticness here. They weren't going to revamp Silvermoon. I said this a long time ago, before Silvermoon was ever planned for Midnight. I said they're going to revamp Silvermoon one day. It's going to be a hub city. Go back and check my shit. I think I said this like 2 years ago. And when I said that, people were like, what are you talking about, cross-faction? I said, guys, they're not going to put all this dev time into remaking a city that's just faction-locked. It's just not going to happen. You got to be realistic here. That shit don't work, okay? And I say the same thing about Lordaeron. If they ever rebuilt it, the way they would do it would be Undercity would be Horde only, and the upper scape of Lordaeron would be cross-faction. That's just how it would work, okay? This used to be a human city. It's an undead city now. That's fine. The undead can still live in Lordaeron, and they can let the humans, in from the Alliance side too. It would be a badass city. I would love to see it. The undead can keep Undercity. It literally works out perfectly. It's already there for us. They just got to do it. I don't know if they ever will.
And really, pretty much since Shadowlands, this has been speculation based on data because they're constantly hinting at these areas being relevant once again. It all became super relevant.
Great assets on
Kalia that we got where the Vorgen finally reclaimed their lost kingdom, even though it was a little more underwhelming. I mean, we had pretty big expectations for this.
Will Teldrassil regrow? I don't know. I think we're getting an Elven expansion, but I honestly don't think they're going to do much for the Night Elves. I don't. I think the Night Elves are just kind of fucked. They lost their world tree. They got a shitty new hub city. Again, another cross-faction city. And it is what it is. And by the way, if you ever think Blizzard's not going to do cross-faction cities, the Night Elf one makes the least sense of all. They literally had their tree burned down by the Horde, and then they allowed them into the new city. I mean, what the fuck? If that's going to happen, then anything's possible.
grand reclamation. However, we also got the Forsaken questlines about Undercity being reclaimed and the surrounding areas, and Arati Highlands have been a hotspot for quite a while now. So all of this was really pre-World Soul Saga. It was kind of evident that they're setting something up here long term at some point in time. Probably the reason why many of these questlines were kind of underwhelming is the fact that they were really just setups for what is to come now in Midnight. So, since the War Within, and especially since the Midnight announcement, we got a bunch of interviews and data mine stuff that made it even more clear that Lordaeron and surrounding area revamp is happening. But the main reason I'm making this video is this really interesting, intriguing, but I would say mostly telling artwork of the loading screen, which can't really be a coincidence.
Yeah, I wonder why they would do this, because there's some detailed spots in here, like clearly spots they wanted us to see. It's very obvious right here what's going on. I mean, we see freaking where Dalaran used to be. Now Dalaran's been turned to dust. What the hell is going to happen? Well, it's magic, people. They can rebuild that shit for sure. I hope if Dalaran is rebuilt, it's rebuilt in the ground. It's a grounded city. No more of this flying shit. Just build it out fully. Because real Dalaran's much bigger than floating Dalaran. We'll see if it ever happens. Gilneas, you know what's going to happen with that? We did get a storyline for it, but no real revamp to it. It's an empty ass city right now. I don't know if they'll ever change it to actually be built out into what it could be potentially. Because Gilneas has a cool aesthetic. It's very unique to the game that we don't get a lot of because we never go there. Besides that, yeah, the big one's Lordaeron. Will that ever happen? I don't know.
So the outbreak itself is not actually new. I mean, this was data mined a little while back, but as you may know, Midnight itself...
And why is my bald spot being brought up in the conversation? That needs a revamp too, I understand, but I gotta go to Turkey for that, okay? I didn't go yet. Jesus Christ.
Is coming out in around 3 months. The beta is mainly wrapping up. I mean, we're not really here in the early stages where things are going to be drastically different. We are right now mainly in the polishing stages of the expansion, where it's really just bug fixing and some like random fixes, but nothing like too deep. So recently for the Midnight Zones in the beta, the loading screen was changed just a few days back to this very interesting artwork, which you might say, oh well, I mean, it's just Quatalas in some mountains, not a big deal, you probably wouldn't even notice it. However, here's the thing, I mean, we've played through most of 12.0, we've even seen some things that happen after it. I mean, you got a video that you can watch on that as well, and we've seen the new zones, which is revamped and really enlarged Quatalas, and we even saw the possible patch zone, the little troll island of the coast of Zulaman. But this artwork itself is very strange, because despite the fact that the focus of 12.0...
I forgot about that. Of course, Zulaman is another city that's getting completely revamped, right? A full building out of the Amani Trolls, something that I've been saying for a long time, also something I predicted. I'm just saying, I'm going to pat myself on the back a lot today. I predicted the Silver Moon revamp being cross-faction, and I said it, when they do the Silver Moon revamp, there is no way they're not touching the Amani Trolls. Now, I did say Amani Trolls would become a playable race, you know, and Blizzard doesn't like to do that. They're giving us horror ears, so I don't even know what to say about that. But Amani Troll revamps, it's great. I can't wait to see it. And evidently, we're going to get a whole new Amani Troll Island, too, coming in like a later patch. So really cool stuff happening. A lot of stuff I predicted. I'm just saying, just watch the stream, guys. You guys got to hear a lot of crazy things that end up happening. What's up, War? What a great first message.
0.0 is entirely on Quatalas. This artwork is showing Quatalas all the way in the background. I mean, the spotlight here is obviously on the northern eastern kingdoms that border Quatalas. Quatalas is barely even seen with what appears to be the Isle of Quel'Danas, with this like light ray, which is obviously the Sunwell. However, as you can see here, I mean, we see the Arati Highlands wall, we see the city of Strong, we see Dalaran where it used to be, and we even see the outline of Gilneas in the Plaguelands, which you can't really say is just a coincidence. Why would...
It's an interesting view. At first I thought it was from the bottom up. It's actually from the side of the Eastern Kingdoms, because yeah, you got the top of the Eastern Kingdoms right up here, so Northrend would be further out, you know, further towards this side, to the left side of the screen. So it's an interesting view from this side, and what they're trying to show, I do think they're trying to show Gilneas, they're trying to show Dalaran, they're trying to show a different angle of the upper part of the Eastern Kingdoms.
Pick this artwork out of all...
Is that Zulaman over there? Is that what that is? Maybe.
this artwork out of all the artworks that they have for Midnight. I mean, think about it. All these Midnight zones are based in Quel'Thalas, so why not just use a landscape of Quel'Thalas? This is literally like if we had a War Within loading screen, but it wasn't really Khazlagar, it was like Kalimdor and like Silitus with Khazlagar barely even seen in the background. Now, the reason why I think this is relevant and not just completely reaching is the other hints that I mentioned from the past few months that make this so incredibly likely. I mean, there's quite a lot of things going on at the same time where it's really not just a coincidence. So, as I said, at the start of the video, we had the entire setup for these areas for years, since pretty much the Shadowlands. However, since Midnight was announced a few months back, there have been a few official interviews where Blizzard outright said these things, plus we got some of the quest lines. So, as you can probably see by now in the beta, we have a questline with Arator of him going back to some older zones, most notably around Stratholme, Lightscope Chapel. Unfortunately, they hadn't really updated it much here, other than changing that empty zone that was there in the past, and they have added it to Quel'Thalas. And they have also updated the mists around Stratholme to this red mists, which could potentially be a hint for something. There are NPCs talking about how crazy the red mist around Stratholme is, how mind-altering it is, so maybe it's not just gameplay stuff. The big deal, though, is the fact that the devs themselves...
Interesting. What are those peaks? What are the big-ass mountains? The Amani, this is like a topographic map. This whole part of the Eastern King, because this map right now, that image that we're seeing is like from here. It's like from this spot right here, and you're looking at the Eastern Kingdoms. That's what we're seeing. The Amani Peaks, I guess there's a bunch of mountains off to this side. So that's those big mountains we see in the background. The hinterlands, all that Altaric Mountains, all that shit in the backside of the Eastern Kingdoms is mountains. There's also North Lordaeron Mountains. I didn't even know that existed. But this is the view we're looking at, so it makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is why do they detail all these little spots out that is seemingly are irrelevant to this expansion? Yeah, it looks like they're going to be relevant. That's why.
Told us about the Forsaken being relevant in Midnight, and the fact that they plan to redo the zones. I mean, I'm not really making this up, you can literally find the interview from just 2-3 months back. They outright said that they plan to give a Midnight treatment to more classic zones, but not nearly on the same scale. So, don't expect that Tirisfal Glades is now going to be exactly like Eversong Woods, but some things will be happening. I mean, partial revamps are pretty much guaranteed. Also, they outright said that they plan to do things with the Forsaken themselves in Midnight. First of all, Sylvanas was already involved in this storyline by the War Within ending with 11.2.7. She kind of confirmed that she will return at some point. As you can probably see by now, her dialogue was something like, "My time to return to the world of living is not now," but probably a bit later down the line. Then they said in the interview that the Forsaken themselves will get a bit of spotlight in this expansion. They won't be as relevant as the elves, and it's not going to be like a massive storyline, but they will be involved. So this in itself kind of confirms at least the Tirisfal Glades and Undercity involvement in this expansion.
By the way, I don't think we're ever going to get undead elves either. I remember when that was a thing for a while, like people wanted to be undead elves, which I don't know why, but that was a thing. And I think if we were ever going to get that, it would have been in Midnight, because we're getting an elven expansion exploring some undead lore at the same time. So maybe you would get undead elves becoming a thing, but we're going to heal the Dead Scar, all that shit's gone, so I don't think that's ever going to happen anymore. We haven't seen it yet, and I highly doubt we're gonna see it.
Then, next down the line, we of course have Gilneas, and we now know that Anduin has actually returned to Stormwind, as Tyrellian is leading the Army of the Light, but Gen is actually the current leader of the Alliance, and he now controls Gilneas, so that in itself kind of makes him quite relevant. Then we have the Arati Highlands.
You're right, Silvery. I guess we did get undead elves with the Dark Ranger customization. That's true. That's true, with the red eyes and all that, yeah. So that's the most elvish undead you're probably going to see.
Plans that have been revamped literally all the way back in BFA, and they constantly have these like quest lines there and things happening. I mean, we have a pretty large quest line in the middle of the War Within. Then we have the new Arati Kingdom that will definitely be relevant, and most importantly, visually, this entire zone was completely revamped. Then we have Dalaran being destroyed, but still kind of being relevant, and that foreshadowed building of the new Drana capital that could really be anywhere on Azeroth, and I somehow feel like it could be around these parts. I mean, they could really revamp a zone together with this new Alliance capital. Furthermore, we've learned of some Scourge activity around the Plaguelands and that they're launching offensives, which means the Plaguelands are still relevant and the Scourge is still relevant. So when you really take all this information into consideration and then you look at this artwork, you can see it is way more than just a random placeholder.
There's some interesting stuff going on here.
Just like randomly put into the beta. I mean, we got Gilneas, another city being set for a revamp. We got the return of Sylvanas and the Blizzard interview talking about how they plan to...
What's the last Titan going to be about? I think the Titans are going to come down and help us fight off the void at the very end of this Midnight expansion. And then maybe something with like Illidan or Sargeras. We trust Illidan more than Sargeras. So maybe Illidan tells us like, hey, these fuckboy Titans actually have another plan right now. They weren't here to save you. They're going to wipe you off the face of this planet or something like that. They're going to do the re-origination shit again or something. And then we got to fight off the Titans now because they're also fuckboys and bad boys too. We'll see. But I think we're going to get that. Also, don't forget, Titans come back. That means Iridikron finally makes his big appearance, where he supposedly has a plan. His plan all along has been to masturbate the Titans. Take that as you will. But he wanted to get the Titans out here. He wants to bait them this way, which is why he was helping Zalateth do her thing, right? Because she knew if he makes the Void stronger, then eventually the Titans are going to show up to defeat the Void. And that's what he wants to do because he wants to defeat the Titans. We'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, there's definitely some weird shit going on. Then who's the last Titan referring to? I guess we'll see. Maybe the last Titan refers to the first Titan. I don't know. We'll find out who the first Titan was. We'll find out.
Make the Forsaken relevant in Midnight itself. We got a quest line in the Plaguelands.
A lot of ways that story could go.
Slight updates to the surrounding areas and Stratcom. We got the Arati Highlands being more relevant than ever with constant quest lines. And then Blizzard on top of all this shows the artwork of the Midnight
Azeroth's the first
Zones,
Titan,
which
maybe.
is really a Quel'Thalas expansion, but Quel'Thalas is all the way in the background, barely even seen. With us outright seeing Strom, Arati Wall, the outline where Dalaran was, and all the other areas that are not Quel'Thalas. I really think at this point this is not even a speculation. So I mean, revamps don't necessarily need to be on the scale of Cataclysm, where they got everything from scratch. I mean, you can see that they literally revamped the entirety of Arati Highlands and built a brand new city there, while the surrounding areas are still stuck in the Cataclysm era. And I feel like this kind of treatment is what is going to come for a few more zones. Just like how we got Undermine out of nowhere in the war with him, we might be able to get Undercity and potentially even Gilneas with more up-to-date graphics. Thanks for watching. Check out my video on how the Emerald Dream was literally retconned by clicking on the screen, and check out my video about Titan lore and Greek mythology that I've recorded live on site in the Italian mountains by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.
Yeah, definitely interesting stuff. I know sometimes people are like, oh, Doran leans in so hard on shit, but this map is interesting. You know, like a lot of times these artworks and everything, they do hint at things to come, and what's emphasized in this pieces of artwork is important. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Interesting loading screen. By the way, kind of cool, too, that we're seeing the Eastern Kingdoms from this perspective. We'll see how it all plays out, if all this stuff turns out to be relevant or not. But a nice video overall from the Teller of 1,000 Truths, Doran.